Hello and welcome to Lockdown Beers and Rugby Chat. Hi, I'm Paul. I'll be your host today. We'll see if anyone else joins me out there. What are we going to talk about today? Well, look, King, Samoa cancelled, but will the Boks as well? Also, what's going on with the Drua for the with the next six? So all of that. Plus, we'll have a quick talk about the Bunnings NPC, as well as we count down to what are we talking about? 5 o'clock when I can crack up my beer. Yeah, a spate's in. What is it? 15 seconds now, I think it is, until 5 o'clock. We can all wind down at the end of the working day, as we've a whole bunch of us have been working from home. I hope that's you guys work from home. I was out and about doing being an essential worker, but there we go. It is 5 p.m. Crack open the old spates. That's the beer of choice, as you can see in the background there. We've got Tui, Lion Red, NZ Lager, Samoa, Boundary Brewery. Yeah, we've got through a few different types of beer during this lockdown, haven't we? Because, taking a bit longer than we all expected. But let's all please follow the rules, get vaccinated, and get out of this as quickly as possible. Personally, got my second vax on Saturday, so looking forward to that and having had both of the jabs there. So what's been going on then? Yes, Sam Cane was one of the names that we talked about yesterday, being called up onto the European leg, or the USA and European leg of the All Blacks tour. Came back from an injury. I think it's like 6 months since he has played rugby, so been a while out, let's be honest. And clearly he needs a run out before he ends up playing international rugby. And that run out is going to come for King Country, which is a little bit of a surprise on that one. Look, he lives on the boundary of King Country and Bay of Plenty, apparently. And Bay of Plenty haven't got a game this weekend. So essentially, that's how they have come about it. Wanganui obviously not quite so happy that they're going to have to play against the All Blacks captain, but hey, that is what it is. And look, he needs a run out. King Country have lost all of their games so far this season, so he's probably going to be on a losing course. There's plenty to do this weekend, and will then like it shouldn't alter who makes the finals, etc. in the Heartland Championship. Just this one game, so not a bad choice personally. I don't think about who he is running out for there, and shame that I guess in little ways that it's under level 2 and they can't get a crowd out there to watch that game. But I'm sure the 100 or whatever it is people that are allowed to watch the game and be there will all really appreciate seeing Sam McCain running out for King Country there. Obviously, Colin Meads, old province. Back in the day. Just gonna sneeze, so just mute you for a second, folks. Oh, there we go. That's better. Hopefully, you're all good. Let's moving on then. And now Samoa have cancelled their tour. They were supposed to be going up and playing 4 games in the European tour against Georgia, Uruguay, Spain, and the Barbarians. That's a big game that 30,000 will be looking at. Had already bought tickets to that game up against the Barbarians in that one. The reviewer, hi, great to be on the chat. We'll have a chat about that in a second. Your comment there in the live chat. So shame that Samoa having to pull out, but basically this is due to their government's quarantine or speculation with the fact that anyone who gets some COVID isn't allowed into Samoa for the next 6 months. And clearly they couldn't guarantee that someone leaving Samoa, that one of the players wouldn't or coaches wouldn't get COVID and then obviously be locked out of their country for that length of time. So really difficult times for Samoa. The Sevens team have also pulled out of the Dubai leg of the World Sevens Series as well. So real shame for Samoa. We always talk about how these 2-tier nations need as many games as possible, and to have had those 4 three test matches plus British and Irish, plus the Barbarians lined up is a real knock for Samoa. Real shame about that one. Joshua puts in the live chat that South Africa tour to Europe could also be in jeopardy. Very true. The Springboks lined up for 4 test matches up north. Can't remember the games that they're supposed to be playing on. Blank now. Starts off with France. I know it includes Wales and England. I think they're playing Scotland as well. I'll just quickly bring it up. But essentially, the problem that they've got is that look, they've been in some sort of bio bubble since June, which is a very long time. And essentially, what they're saying is that if they have to go into quarantine when they enter the UK, which has a 10-day quarantine currently for people from South Africa, then that means, as Josh said, it's on the red list. That means that that is just one quarantine too far as the South Africa are saying. Sorry, no, they haven't got France. They've got Wales, Scotland, and England. I don't know why I thought they had a game against France as well. So yeah, Springboks for Wales, Scotland, England, obviously in the UK. Now, if they have to do that 10-day quarantine, that's a step too far for the Springboks. And the Springboks said that they've been through it enough already this year. And you can understand why they're saying that. So we'll have to wait and see whether those 3 test matches will be called off. Clearly, those test matches will have sold a lot of tickets already. The world champions, the winners of the British and Irish Lions tour, heading to play 3 teams that were part of that British and Irish Lions in Wales, Scotland, and England. The fans would have loved to have seen those games. So, a real shame if that one also gets called off. We just have to wait and see what happens with that one, folks. And how many of these games during the November window do actually go ahead. I don't keep track, in all honesty, of what all the travel regulations and who is and who isn't on whoever's red list or whatever other lists there are going on around there. So I don't know which games may or may not be at risk, but clearly we've heard about those ones for the Springboks, and expect some makeshift last-minute games to be organised, because let's be honest. These are part of how we fund the game. Is these games? So yes, that is a chunk of cash that clearly those unions really cannot afford to lose in that one. Hey LB, great to see you there, and the reviewer as well. Yeah, it is disappointing about Samoa, and we haven't heard what might be happening for Tonga and or Fiji Drua. That news around Samoa also, I guess, might raise some question marks around the recruitment for Moana Pacifica as well, because clearly there have been COVID cases in New Zealand, and so will there be some players who have signed up for that or would be signing up for that that might think again if it means they can't get back into Samoa. So maybe some issues there for Moana Pacifica as far as the Super Rugby Pacific goes, as well, and their recruitment. So look, really would like to know and try and find out when we're hearing from Moana Pacifica about their recruitment, because it's we are running out. Well, it is getting close. We think that they have signed some players already, but we don't know that for certain. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. I do have an image to bring up. There we go. There it is. Just opening it up now, folks, because Fijian Drua have announced the next wave of players, or their next 6 players that they have been signed in this one. We'll have to. Josh says maybe Mark can pay for an MIQ facility as well. As I say, I don't know the full details of the Samoan travel restrictions, but it sounded like if you've had COVID, you're not allowed back for 6 months. So that was, I thought I saw somewhere. Sorry if that's not true. I hope to not. I don't want to be spreading rumors or anything, or any untruths, or any fake news or anything, folks. So do check that out yourselves. But a bit of say potential issues there on that one. Around the Fijian Drua, say they've announced 6 more players here. So they include Kiloni Nasako, who is an Olympic gold medalist in there, number 11, as you can see. The Flying Fijians prop, Jone Koro Duadua, the former NRC Drua halfback in Ratu Penai Matualu, another Flying Fijian in Chris Minimbi, and also a player who's playing for Northland in the Bunnings NPC, currently flanker and former under-20s captain for Fiji, Rakabula Momendonu, and a centre in Kalaveti Ravuvu. So good luck to all of them, and great to see they went out to 16 players, so about halfway there, not quite halfway there for the Fijian Drua. But look, it's good to see that we're getting a squad that they're slowly announcing the squad. I think they've already pretty much signed most, if not all, of their squad already. So great to see Fijian Drua bringing up this information. We're releasing it in probably about a weekly cycle now to keep people interested, keep people aware of what's going on with the Drua, and they're obviously turning up. We're going to be playing in Australia, and a man who's coming in off the bench as just before half time, because you know what, he can tell that I'm clearly running out of steam and need some fresh legs on the show. It's Stephen Harris. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, no, you're not the Springbok coach, are you? Just bringing your subs on just before half time there, mate.
Absolutely. Get bring on the quality off the bench. That's what I say. And good to see you on the water there. Body as a temple. Nice. Yeah. Nice. Good to see he's looking after himself there up in the 09. So soon he'll be having picnics and stuff. It'll be great. So I'll be honest. I don't recognise many of these Fijian players. I mean, you've obviously followed Northland closely, so you'll be aware of Momodonu there. But what another 6 players, and including a couple of internationals in Flying Fijians and another Olympic gold medalist. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, they're certainly drip feeding the team bit by bit. If you got to, I'm just laughing. There probably was a crooked line out, throwing to the line out first up, Joshua Scott. It's gold. I like that. Oh, LB. Yep. Why wouldn't you be on the beers? You haven't come off them probably since Saturday, or should I say Sunday morning over there in South Africa. Good on you. But anyway, getting back onto the matters at hand. Yeah, Rakabula Moimoidonu, definitely similar to a familiar player to myself up in Northland. It's been a bit of a breakthrough year for Moimoidonu. He was injured. I think he may have been picked for Northland previously, but he's picked up a couple of really bad injuries, which has sort of kept him away. I've got to say, I'm a little bit surprised by it. He hasn't sort of set the world on fire playing for Northland this year, but on saying that, Paul, listen, good luck to him. He's a former Fijian under-20 captain, so listen, they've probably had his eye on him for a while, and listen, I think it's good for the development of their rugby. You'd rather a under-20 Fijian under-20 player putting in his lot for Fiji as opposed for New Zealand. But of course, Kaliopasi Uluya Laipeka, who plays for Northland, is also a former Fijian under 18 player who threw in his lot for New Zealand under 20s back in 2019. So it'll be interesting to see where his path takes him as well, Paul. But yeah, just looking around, a lot, like you say, a lot of the names aren't sort of household names, but yeah, it's coming together surely but slowly.
It is slowly, surely, and good to see that. So, I mean, Momodonu was part of the Fijian Latui, which was the global rapid rugby team as well. So, look, it's showing that these things like the Fiji Drua as part of the NRC the Fijian Latui, which as part of Global Rapid Rugby. Okay, did they take off and become big tournaments themselves? No, they didn't. But there's a number of players that are coming out of that. That it's so it has been, there have been some positive experiences for those players that's gotten to this stage. So it's good to see from those that they've given these things a go, and they haven't got dispirited by the fact that hey, if their tournament collapses and or that team disappears, they've kept them going, which is great to see.
Yeah, Paul, I was going to say too, I think one of the little asterisks that we should sort of throw in there, or little thing we should throw in, Northern do have a good relationship with the Drua as well, because at one point before they eventually settled on a venue in North Queensland, Sunshine Coast, I think it is, they were looking at Seminoff Stadium in Whangarei as a possible home base. So I know there has been a relationship developed with Northland, and of course they've got ties with former Fijian international Graham Jews, who's the Northland Taniwha forwards coach as well. So probably a little. So you never know. He may not be the last Northland signing. Of course, Johnny Mathalai Tori still playing some great rugby out on the wing for the Taniwha at the moment. Whether they want to tread that past, Johnny's got a bit of super experience with both the Crusaders and, of course, the Blues as well. I know I've reached out to Johnny, see if he'd get any comment from us, but I'm pretty sure he'll keep it mum regardless.
Yes, Johnny Matlow, really good game at the weekend against. Dear me, in Ronnie Rangers' 100th game, which was against Waikato. Thank you. There we go. Get the word out at the end.
Good.
Yes, he had a good game out there, didn't he, on that one? Talking of the Bunnings NPC, then Staff kicked off his show on SENZ today at 12 o'clock with a kind of run through as the situation for the Bunnings NPC. He brought up a number of good points. Don't forget, I was on the SENZ on Sunday, by the way, folks, talking about the NPC as well. But he basically pulled a whole bunch of things together. One of them is, if you look on the Bunnings NPC website, the official website, they've still got the finals down for the next 2 weekends. Now, we know that's not true. We know it's not going to happen, but they can't even update the fixtures website properly, and they've still got the old fixtures in there, which doesn't help people. Doesn't help the marketing. If you're trying to, it just leads to more confusion for people as to what's going on. Whilst he mentioned that those were the dates in there, he knew very well that they were never going to be played. The plans had changed how those played there, but even so, but he makes some good points. There's a number of players and apparently even the head coach that are all lined up to go to Japan to play in the new Japanese professional league up there, that may all have to miss the last few weeks of the competition. There's also a whole bunch of players who are, let's be honest, part timers. They have got they've got real jobs that they have taken time off from that maybe they might need to go back to. All the contracts for the players run out at the end of October or the beginning of November. So with I think it was the 27th or the 22nd, something like that, of November being the last round. That's another 4 weeks of pay for a whole bunch of people that the NPC, that the provinces have got to come up with to find them. So there's to pay them. So look, there's a whole bunch of issues around that. I mean, Josh Mackay, for example, has signed for Glasgow. Now, does he go at the end of October, or does he have to wait until the competition's finished and go at the end of November? Now, we don't really know. So there's a whole bunch of questions out there up in the air at the moment around all of this kind of thing. And so far, the response we have had from New Zealand Rugby is, that's right, silence, folks, around us to us, and the amount of transparency and news as to how all this is going to be handled has been pretty much zero. And now there has been a press release today at 12:30, where finally Steve Lancaster has come out and said, look, we're applying for the third time to try and get Auckland, North Harbour, and Counties Manukau out of the Auckland area, so that they can continue, hopefully move down to Taupo. Now, according to staff, Taupo is like, don't come here, we don't want you here, because you're coming from a COVID area, unsurprisingly. Whereas you think, why do they keep trying for Taupo when we know the Blues shacked up in Cambridge during that one? When they avoided a lockdown because they were away and didn't travel home. Where have Waikato gone? Well, they've gone to Cambridge. So as they all made sure they left Hamilton before the border came into effect. I don't understand why they're not going to Cambridge, to be honest with you. Where clearly there are some things set up there in that one. Aaron says, yeah, they're dependent on the government. It's not in New Zealand Rugby's control. No, it's not. Sure. As to what happens isn't, but how you communicate and let us know what might be going on, that is under New Zealand Rugby's control. But no, look, this isn't trying to point fingers saying, it's New Zealand Rugby's fault. Oh, it's the province's fault. Oh, it's the government's fault. It's silence. We just don't know what's going on. And one of the things we've found out is if you don't communicate with the media will go out and try and find a story to talk about, because otherwise they've got nothing to talk about. We saw that with Josh Ioane's house party incident, which just was a bunch of guys being a bit noisy at home. Wow, I mean, big news story, folks. There was no accusations of them being drunk and disorderly or any improper conduct. They were just noisy. But the Highlanders' response to this was shut down. Don't tell anybody everything. Don't give any interviews. Let's go quiet, folks. We just need communication and transparency, so that we've got some idea as to what's going on. Because you could hear the frustration in staff's voice. There's a lot of players who are also very stressed about it as well. And Aaron says it's because no one knows what's going on, not even the government. Well, whether they do or don't, I'm not going to get into any sort of politics side of things. But again, it's not about not having or not having a plan. It's about just not talking to us about it and just going silent. We've had, and that to me is the issue here with this one. It's just standard New Zealand Rugby operating principle, really. Yeah. I don't know. I'm ranting now, Stephen.
No, I was going to say, Paul, I'm really impressed with Joseph Pearson, who writes for Stuff Sport. He managed to find almost 1,000 words to actually talk about this particular subject. Is quite incredible, and it's a whole lot of words that could have really been explained in about 150 odd words, to be honest. And once again, you've sort of got to question the way the New Zealand Rugby Football Union are getting their information out, because this was leaked about 12 hours ago. That's how long I've known before it actually came out in their so-called press conference. I got a tip that they were basically going to go submit a third application, and I thought, oh well, that's I suppose I can totally understand that. But in the main, I agree with everything you say, Paul.
It doesn't surprise me about Joseph, to be honest with you. He is based out of Hamilton. He is the local reporter for there who never turns up to any Waikato games or Chiefs games and writes them all off the paper of watching the TV. So yeah, not surprised by that Joseph did that. Pretty standard for him. He's the one that screwed me up with that's when Rodney Gibbs was not Rodney Gibbs. Come wrong. Oh. Who was the Waikato head coach that has gone over?
Yes,
to
got to France.
Got to
France.
Yeah.
Yes. I know the guy.
It is Gibbs. Chris Gibbs? No, that was Chris Gibbs was at Wellington, wasn't it? His brother.
Yeah.
Anyway,
like yourself, Paul. I'm sort of it hasn't quite hit me either, but yes, he is.
We're slowly narrowing it down. But anyway, Joseph did a 2-hour interview with him, and then wrote his article off the last 3 questions, which were all about the Gibbs move to La Rochelle.
John
Gibbs, thank you. And totally ignored all the work he was doing in Waikato. So yeah, well done, Joseph. Thank you for that. So yes, so that's Joseph's job. He was going to head overseas at one point, and Michael Pearson and I was going to say Michael Pearson. No, not the real Mike Pullman was in line for his replacement of his job, and would have been a much better replacement. But anyway, those things those ships have sailed. So yeah, look, we'll wait and see now. We have got fixtures for this weekend, and that's it so far. We don't know. We haven't any fixtures for the following weekend yet. I think partly that's down to if New Zealand Rugby can get the exemption quickly enough, these teams could get out of Auckland tomorrow and train and be playing in a week and a half's time. So I think that's what they're really, really hoping for. I do know that that New Zealand Rugby has got a whole bunch of provisional fixtures around the NPC, around the Farah Palmer Cup, around Super Rugby, and around the All Blacks as well. That's been circulated around the provinces. I've not seen it, but I do know it's happened, and I know it's there because obviously we talked to various people at the provinces. So there is stuff being planned. There is stuff. They are planning for it. Let's go in that one. Mark Rees did a pretty good article in stuff about the Test match. Did I read it? No, I didn't. I tend to try and avoid people's opinion pieces on the stuff in the New Zealand Herald and any New Zealand media for that matter. So we probably, but I think that I know that John O'Connor, our South African friend, pulled up one that put a piece up for us in our chat, where it's basically saying, look, who is going to be more happy with the Rugby Championship? The All Blacks having not managed the Queen's clean sweep, or the Springboks for the fact they actually managed to beat the All Blacks once? That's something we'll be talking about in the Driving More show tonight at 8 p.m. as we review the Rugby Championship. So do join us for that. We'll probably talk more about the Bunnings NPC because hey, if Joseph can get 1,000 words out of a 5-minute press release, I'm sure we can get a few more as well. On that one. What I guess something I talked about before you came on though is Sam Cane playing for King Country. Cane is going to become a king. What do you think of that one?
Wow, that's going to be. Well, does he count as a King Country All Black? I suppose he would, doesn't he?
Yeah, he would do. Yeah, he would do that. There
you go.
Well,
they'll have to get his portrait put up, and and basically get that up put that up on the wall because crazy. But I suppose listen, he needs rugby, and I think that's that's probably not a bad sort of game to come back into the scheme of things. We all know that the Heartland Rugby is a good, it's a good level of rugby that's above club rugby, but it probably doesn't have the intensity of nowhere near the intensity of NPC rugby. But it will be interesting to see if it's just the one game he's going to get under his belt, or will he get a second?
If he does get a second, it'll probably be Bay of Plenty. I can't see them playing out 2 weeks without a game. Yes, Wanganui did joke that perhaps they should be given Sam Whitelock or Dane Coles to make it fair. But those two aren't coming back from 6 months of injury and no game time at all. So I understand what it's there. Yes, Wanganui are going to be a bit upset, but Wanganui should beat King Country with or without Sam Cane, put bluntly. They're a better team than King Country. So King Country haven't won a game all season. I should probably just quickly before I'm on. I should probably bring up the Heartland Championship records of Wanganui. So they have their season so far. They beat Wairarapa Bush. They did lose to Mid Canterbury, and they beat Popsy Bay as well. But they should beat King Country. So Sam Cane should be on on that one. He might as well not play if he's not going to Europe. Sam Cane is going to go to Europe though, so he's been added to the team along with Sam Whitelock, Dane Coles, and Josh Lord are the 4 players who will be joining the All Black squad for the end of year tour. We'll also be talking about that on the Driving More show as well. We'll have a quick look forward and talk about those players because I know that Stephen Harris and Boa have both got some stuff to talk about around Josh Lord. Big fans of his. So we'll talk about that as well as part of the Driving More show at 8 p.m. this evening. And Josh says Stephen might remember that King Country were a real hard, gnarly team at home back in the first division a while back.
Oh, yep, they were. I can testify to that. No, some really, really good players come out of that union as well. I think younger brother of former All Black coach John Mitchell, Paul Mitchell, actually rocked up for King Country as well. Phil Coffin, Kevin Borovich, son of Glenn Meads, also that son of the great Sir Colin Meads, also played there. They had some really, really good players back in the day, the Coffin brothers, and there's some old NPC videos running around on Facebook. You wouldn't have got them for the first several hours of this morning, though, but I think you might be able to find those videos on Facebook. Yeah, good, solid side back in the day, and I know there's a lot of folks who still ask the question. That was New Zealand Rugby seemed had a good thing when they had the first, second, and third division, Paul, and there was promotion, relegation. To me, it actually just stuck a little bit of an edge on things, and it's actually a direction I want to go tonight. The question of not so much promotion, relegation, but at international level, having everything on the line, because Rugby World Cups is about knockouts. And my question for tonight, Paul, when we jump on the show, I actually want to see the Bledisloe Cup put up at every game and not have a 3-test series. I actually want to see that it's actually put up for every game, and basically that makes it a knockout game. And it mirrors
it's a bit like a Ranfurly Shield Challenge. You see it bouncing around backwards and forwards.
and it keeps bouncing around backwards and forwards, and that way it kind of mirrors, from down this neck of the woods. We don't always get we don't get that real hard knockout rugby, because let's be honest, as much as we like our super level rugby, we think back to Saturday's test, and boy, that was brutal, and it was more of a reminder of knockout World Cup rugby, and that's what I saw in Saturday's game, Paul. But hey, we'll leave all that on the table for tonight.
We will just a couple of things there on the King Country side of things. Martin Johnson used to play for King Country, as did Welsh hooker Garion Jenkins as well. So both of those have played for that. Sam Kane will be joining 8 other All Blacks who have come out as King Country. I'll just run through their names. Kevin Borovich, Ronald Byers, Phil Coffin, not Phil Collins, Phil Coffin, Jack McLean, Sir Colin Meads, Stanley Meads, Bill Phillips, and Graham Whiting as well out of King Country. The reviewers.
I was going to say, it's crazy, yeah. Sometimes you get guys. We were actually having a bit of fun last night on our rugby chat line, and we were talking about a current, not a current Irish international, but a former Irish international who is playing in the Bunnings NPC at the minute, and he played 5 tests for Ireland. I won't give away sort of too much, but every now and again one pops up, and it's great to see. And of course, how could I have forgotten Martin Johnson? Probably it might be fair to say maybe a couple of the great locks have actually come out of the King Country, Paul, and Sir Colin Meads and Martin Johnson.
Wow, that would be not many teams would want to face that duo. Let's be honest. The reviewer earlier on said, Tasman could win the Ranfurly Shield for the first time this week. Absolutely. A couple of chartered plane loads of people are flying up from Tasman to Hawke's Bay. Not quite sure how that all works with various kind of rules at the moment, but hey, we won't go there with that one. But we're trying to get hold of a couple of people from Hawke's Bay to have a chat with, and I need to email Tasman, see if we can get an interview tomorrow with one of their coaches or players. So I'll do that right after this, folks, because yes, that is the game of the weekend. Really looking forward to it. Should be an absolute cracker. Do join Stephen, myself, and Boa at 8 p.m. This evening for the Driving More show. As I say, we'll be looking back at the Rugby Championship, looking forward at the the November tours, and we will also be looking for. But this also probably having a bit of a chat about Bunnings NPC, because that is our favourite competition. Archie, along with